when I started this journey into fitness, I found that I was in love with it. So in the fitness industry, when you're a trainer or whatnot, whatever it is that you choose to teach, it's a up and down when it comes to the financial part. You could have great months and you could have bad months, and it's not consistent. Even though you could have a consistency of clients, people have things that happen in life, or vacation, or it could be highs, it could be somebody moving, and it could take a big chunk of your business. So I've always had to have like a secondary job. But
Wow.
unfortunately, living in New York, your secondary usually becomes also your primary, especially when it's consistent pay, right?
Right.
So my goal was, because throughout the years of doing it, I never lost the love for it. And I wanted to always make it my sole career, or at least my primary, that I don't have to rely on a secondary. So I needed to find a job that allowed me to move that job around my training, where it was vice versa. So if
Mhm.
you needed to train on a Tuesday, I'm sorry, I can't train on Tuesday because I work at my other job. So I wanted that to be reversed. So my aunt works in, she works for an airline, and I realized how flexible their schedules are. Plus, you get a lot of benefits that come along with it.
Mhm.
So I tried probably every year and applied, didn't get it, and applied and didn't get it. And then I gave up on it and just said, maybe this will always have to be secondary. Then COVID hit
Mm.
and nobody had a job. So it was really hard for me to deal with not moving as much as I did, or again, remember with the consistent pay, it became draining mentally on what I'm going to do next. And then I just started working out more than what I usually would do, started coming up with more programs and exercise, and I just started shooting them to my clients. Even though we can't see each other, I was just handing them out. Nobody really had any pay going on. Everybody was afraid of what was going to happen next. So I didn't charge. I just gave them away.
Wow.
Yeah, I didn't charge. I gave them away. I would hit them up and say, hey, you should be doing this. And then I kept applying, even though I know everything was on a freeze, to airlines. And I kept passing out workouts, doing all of that. Eventually, I got one of my clients to come outside. She was my one client for the entire time we were
They came
quarantined.
outside.
Yeah, that she came
She
outside
braved it.
the park.
They were when New Yorkers lock it down and don't move out the
Right.
house. You already
Yeah, it
know.
was it was crazy. Like, even like you're outside and the fear that everybody had, she was my most fearless one.
Mm-mm.
Then I got a call from another client. I saw you in the park. Is that true? And I said, oh yeah, it was me. All right. I said, come on. I get it. Everybody financially doesn't have it. If you could pay, you could pay. If you can't, it's okay. At some point in life, I'll get repaid. Well, then that just started hitting everybody else up and started opening up doors, as far as they're like, no, I'll pay you. Whatever it is, I'll pay you. We're going to do this together. And then as we started to open up again, Delta called me back for an interview.
Wow.
So I had the interview with them, and my clients stuck with me throughout my training and maneuvered around that. And then I learned exactly what it was. I'm very flexible. That job is very flexible, to what I want to do as a career. So everything works around my training.
This is so good. This is
Yeah,
like
it
great
was.
information because it was a journey, but I what I love is how your passion it came through because I say this all the time. We're not in this. We don't pick the entrepreneur journey. It picks us.
Yeah, for sure.
It tells us our passion, and then we do it. And it's not really about the money. We want to get paid. We want, yeah. I mean,
Obviously,
we
right?
like vacations too, right? But at the same
Exactly.
time, you know, we can't help it. We can't get away from the drive. We can't get away from the desire to do what we were made to do, and to bring people on board and to have them understand it. And they pick up on that, and they remain loyal because
Right.
and they love you for it because they see that, oh yeah, this is what they're into. They're really into helping us. They're really into making sure that we're healthy. Everybody got healthy during COVID. You remember that?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I was just look, never. I have never been able. to do that again. But I know it's in me to do it, and that's why I'm coming back on with you,
It
because
is. It is.
you
I think.
started me getting milk. Remember with Kat? She
Yeah,
was
I
working
still
out the
train
business.
Cat.
I
Me
was
and Cat
like,
is still going strong.
that's
We still going strong. See,
like
the thing is, when it comes down to it, sometimes we get like I notice a lot of things with me. I'm very consistent. I'm very loyal. So if I'm working at a company, I'm loyal to them. I try to give my best. That's something what my parents taught me. Doesn't matter if you're a garbage picker or a gum picker, you be the best one to represent
nice,
yourself.
right?
So I'm not, I'm accepting of change, but I'm not one that looks for it. So a lot of times I have to be knocked off my feet in order to do something that I want to do, because I do tend to put a lot of people before myself. It's
Wow.
just naturally what we grew up around. We always helping another person out. So a lot of things for me had to happen suddenly and drastically for me to make that move. Again, remember when I said I was trying to put it primary and it didn't work out, I just gave up.
Oh,
Then we got COVID and I'm trapped and I'm like, here we go again. Let me just try to actually make the moves that I want to do in life. I got into personal training because I lost my father. It wasn't because it was something ideally that I wanted to do firsthand. I was going to school to be a physician's assistant.
uh-huh.
I was in LIU, in Brooklyn. And
Yeah. Now that, hold on, let's pause for the big deals, because that's a big deal. Okay, go ahead.
So I was there, and my father, he passed suddenly. He had a stomach pain, and then just we saw him one Saturday. Next Saturday, he was gone.
Girl, been there,
But
done that. Mm-mm-mm.
yeah, so for me, I used to put a lot of things to the back. I stopped going to school. I started helping my mom, just trying to be almost like my dad's replacement in a sense. We always wanted to come together. They were best friends. So a lot of my time stopped.
Right,
And I stopped doing anything that I love that way. I said, I just got to build money and make sure that we're set. But it also became an eye opener because we lost him suddenly. I was like, this is, like there was no major issues or anything like that. Um, I also was doing a lot of mental like adjustments in myself. Like, wait,
right,
how did this happen?
right,
All I kept thinking more so about the incident, everything was let me create some money so that way everybody could be okay if I was to go.
right.
My job, I worked for a hotel. They went on the renovation. We was out what was supposed to be for 3 weeks to turn out to be 8 months.
Oh my
So
God, it's just like,
it was a
and
lot,
it was like back to back to back to back to
back to
back.
back. So with that, I started to try to get a little bit healthier because I said, it's crazy how we lost my dad. I'm gonna start working out. At least I can give my mom a fighting chance, right? So I was very consistent with that. Then I started bringing my friends into it because a lot of them were having health issues, minor stuff, but stuff that I'm like, nah. I think if we work out, we could do this because obviously I was in trying to be in the medical industry. I was learning so much more about the body.
Do you
Yeah.
think that working out prevents or will help heal the body faster, or will prevent the body from getting ill? I mean, is it the body in motion? Is that true?
Once our body stops moving, that's
Mhm.
when things start to deteriorate. That's when illness starts to happen. That's when you no longer pay attention to stuff because you haven't used it or moved. You're not eating properly because you're not going anywhere. You're not feeling the effects of a lot of things. As long as we're moving, as long as we're creating this pattern of having an active lifestyle, and it's not always fitness itself. It could be anything. you
Right.
you tend to change the body so it could adapt or almost revamp itself to make an adjustment so you can move better, you can live longer. A lot of the things that we stop when we stop moving is when things stop happening.
Oh,
So essentially, creating a better lifestyle for yourself will prevent you having to go any certain things are inevitable, but it'll help you build a stronger foundation so that way you won't almost lose that so quickly. People
so
think as you get older, things happen. It's time to just basically go. It's not true. Age
so
isn't it. It's we stop moving.
do you think that, like with me, my age, I'm 50 plus, and
Look like you're 21.
I I don't start that, won't be that, because I'm very into that. So, um, and but I do notice, like, because of the stress, because of all the female transitions and I'm going through, or just changes in my body because I'm getting older. because of the stress, because I'm not exercising. I don't necessarily eat bad. And I think that's what's keeping me from being on insulin, taking a whole bunch of different high blood pressure pills. But because I'm not exercising, I feel older now than I did just last year.
Well,
Physically.
it makes sense. It makes
Okay.
sense. What we forget is that, so I have clients of all ages, and I'm gonna be 100% honest. I think my youngest right now, well, was 14, but is in school now. But
Okay.
my youngest right now is probably 21, just turning 21. Set of twins. They were probably my most, I don't want to say weak, but most fragile when it came down to me having to make sure that they were making the right movements so they don't hurt themselves, and create strength. They, for me, were in what people would assume to be in the body of a 70-year-old, because they were they were
Wow.
active in the sense of lifestyle, with having going out, having a social life. But when it came down to anything else, no, they had no stamina. They're not overweight. They eat
Right.
whatever they want, because at the end of the day, they're just, their
Teenagers.
metabolism is
Right.
set up that way for now.
Right.
But my strongest happens to be, as of, oh, in August she'll be 68.
Stop.
Not
What?
even
Y'all hear that? Listen.
not even
I'm
lying
not
to you.
looking at, hey, you ain't, boy, I'm looking at them. Do y'all hear that?
Listen, not even lying to you. And the reason why is because I feel in life sometimes, when we're at a certain stage of our life, we feel we can do anything, and then at some moment it stops. We don't prioritize ourselves because we're trying to take care of our family, so everything becomes secondary. I love to hear people say, "Oh, I don't eat breakfast because I'm not used to it." And I'm saying, okay, regardless of the lifestyle that you live, at some point in your life when you was a child, you ate breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
That's
Oh
right.
yeah, because it's what your body's used to. It's what you were set up. This is what your parents or whoever your caregiver set that up. So now, as an adult, you wake up and say, "Oh, I don't got time. I got to
Right.
get
I
ready
just
for
I
work."
just do coffee.
Right. I got to get ready for work. I got to get out of
Right.
here.
Right.
And that's where it all trickles down. You take one
Um,
habit and you create another one. So now you just had coffee. So now, damn it, I got to sign this deal. I got to talk to this person. I'm going to wait till dinner. Okay, now you probably not even really full because you're so full of gas, or you had that one big meal that doesn't suffice for 3 meals.
right.
Now, but you fed your family, and now you're going to make sure they eat, but you don't have time to eat yourself. Will never make no sense. So what happens is we prioritize differently, and what we do is we put ourselves to the back. Where as a child, we
Yes.
always up front. We
Right.
we we ahead when we're not supposed to be ahead.
Right.
So
Right.
that's why you stay active. My eldest client, she's very much into her first. So she wants
Mm.
to make sure she don't have a home attendant. She wants to make sure that she can retire when she wants to, not because her body said so. Her drive is different. So
So
granted, she's
she has a different mindset and set of
right.
goals. So when you what do you call that again? You had a term for it. It's her she puts herself first, but you call it her first.
Yeah, I said she's a me first person.
Me first. I got
She's a
it.
me first person, and I love that about her because she works for a huge company. She's into chemics. She's chemics. She does all of that. It's a lot, and it's but she still will shut stuff down to make sure she gets her fitness and her exercise going, because a lot of times now everybody's working from home. Sometimes she's so drained with work she don't get out, but she makes sure she puts activity in there. I see
Right.
her 3 times a week, but she's outside 5. She'll take a walk. She'll do all of that. All of those count. So it's not age, because she can do anything. I can put her against anybody right now. She could deadlift. I think it's 165, and we don't even deadlift like that.
Damn.
Whatever I give her, if I told her today we're gonna try to climb up a wall, I
I know
guarantee you
y'all
she's gonna
listening.
try it. She's
Wow.
gonna try it because
Right.
she's, when it comes down to it, nobody can do it. She's gonna try. She's not gonna say she can't do, because I've always prompted that in everybody. It's not that you can't do it. You may not be able to do it right now.
If
Right
you only
now, I
knew
can't do it.
how much you're motivating me, because I was coming up the steps the other day and I got to the top of the steps and I felt my heart rate. Now, I always believed in working out, but life happens, right? Now it's all about the kids. Now it's all about the church. Now it's all about the work. Now it's all about the client. Now it's all about building my business. Now it's all about, getting some rest. Now it's all about, oh my God, I didn't eat today. I'm starving. Let me stop and eat fast food. right? And I starve my body all day. Next, then it becomes about, oh God, I'm so tired that I'm just gonna do the bit. And so right now, I notice that I eat at night because I don't eat all day. And at nighttime around 10, and it could be that whole diabetic, thing. At 10 o'clock, I am starving, like it to the point where I don't know if I can go to sleep if I don't put something. And I mean, I want a meal, right? Every time I stop eating in the evening, I start to lose like a half a pound a day. Every time I eat in the evening, I gain 2 or 3 pounds that week. It's the craziest thing. And go ahead.
It's because so your body at some point gets used to the way you're doing things, right? But at the end of the day, what people forget is it's not that you're supposed to stop eating. Technically, they tell you to eat more. You eat more, you lose weight. The reason for that is because you're not supposed to eat when you're starving. When you've reached the part of starving, you know that you did wrong all day. Because
Really?
we're not supposed to eat almost like it sounds crazy to say it. You're eating to carry on, not as an enjoyment, right? You got to look at it like gas in a car. You want to travel to Maryland, you got to put gas in your car. How, if you've been driving halfway through, do you expect to not continue this path if you don't put gas in it? So you're working on empty. So by the time you get to starvation mode, you're going to overeat, even though it's your body's not going to recognize anything because it knows it's supposed to be filled. You're going to overeat and it's just going to store it as fat because you didn't use it as energy all day. It doesn't know what to do with it. It's
But
just going to
does
sit
that
there.
matter even if I'm not physically active? I'm sitting at the computer. I mean, I'm jumping in and out my car. But for me,
Everything matters because look what you said. I didn't eat in the evening, and then eventually at some point I'm starving.
that's true.
Right? It's fuel. You're up. You're moving. Now, granted, you want to eat according to your lifestyle, right? Meaning the time of the day. If you work in the morning, that's the first time you fill up the gas in the car, right? Because you're gonna be
Okay.
traveling all day. You fill it up. You fill up that tank all the way. Make sure it's good. It's protein based, so that way you're filling your body. And then in between, you driving just like you got to take a pit stop to maybe use the restroom or something. You
Right.
snack, right?
Right.
Because now by the time lunch comes, you're not starving. It's just time to eat. It's a big difference. A big
Oh, okay.
difference. It's just time to eat. Now you drive a little bit again. You worked up a little because now your metabolism is going and giving you the fuel to keep going. You have another little snack. Now it's getting towards the end of your stop, and you know you're not going to be moving anymore. You're not going to be driving. You eat your dinner, or AKA put the rest of the gas in the car so you can continue out your way, and then that's it. You won't ever be starving. You should never be starving any portion of your day. You could work up an appetite, but you shouldn't be starving. When you starve, you overeat. Even if it's vegetables, even if you told me all I eat is vegetables before I go to bed, it still doesn't know what to do with it because you overate. A pound of broccoli is still a pound of broccoli.
So, so I want to ask you about the because so I'm gonna run off some of the things that with friends of mine we have done to lose weight, and you just tell me yes or no. Like
Yeah,
it's because we're real creative about just not exercising and shit. I'm sorry,
love
I
it.
didn't mean to curse you, but
It's
one of
all
the
right. I knew that
intermittent
was coming.
that how do you say intermittent? I can't say it. Say it for me.
You're gonna make me. I'm gonna repeat exactly how you said it
It's like
because now it's in my head.
intermittent
We
fasting.
we just
Okay.
gonna say fasting.
Right, we just gonna say
We
fasting.
gonna say the
We're just gonna
breakdown
say
fasting.
eating a certain time of day for those hours in the day only. So
How does
I
that
get
work
it.
for you guys?
It's not. So I'm hungry. It feels like I'm gonna be honest. It feels like it's burning a hole in my stomach. It feels like my acid reflux or whatever I have going on in my stomach. It seems like it gets worse. And then when I do finally eat, I feel bloated. It doesn't. I don't really drop weight like it says. Like it promotes it's going to do for me.
Okay, so my thing with that is it works for some people. It doesn't work for others. Sometimes people will drop a massive amount of weight, some people don't.
But then
Here's
they put it back on, right?
if you gotta go through that course and it's not a consistent lifestyle, there's always gonna be a rebuttal. It's the same way that because you did it. when you stop eating past a certain time at night, right? When you stop
Mm.
eating, you lose a pound or whatever the case is. Oops, and then you go back on. Your body goes into a shock every time we make a change. If you work a night shift your whole life, and then all of a sudden you're doing mornings, it's going to be the hardest thing of your life. No matter how much sleep you got, no matter if
Mm.
you went to bed because you got to wake up at 6, you went to
Mm.
bed and you had 15 hours of sleep, you're still going to have a rough time, at least for the first couple of months. And then your body gets used to it. Oops, now I'm switching it back. It's a
Right.
shock every time. So there's a time where your body will get used to it, but you got to look at it. Is it something that you can sustain for the rest of your life?
Hold it
Let
to
me just
myself.
clear
Yep.
something up when it comes down to what time of the day you should eat
Okay.
versus morning versus night versus after 6 or after 8. The body doesn't know what time it is. It knows you're moving. You think your body will say, whoop, it's morning time, time to wake up and eat. No,
So
your body knows what you put it through. It knows what you're used to. It's the same way that you could wake up late for work or wake up on your own without an alarm because it's your clock. It's your body's clock that's answering that. But it doesn't know what time it is. If I work an overnight shift, I promise you, I'm not hungry at night because
right.
technically I'm supposed to be sleeping. So what I am is lethargic. What I am is very exhausted. I'm probably tearing like no tomorrow because I'm tired, but hungry I'm not. But yet I'm still
Um.
moving.
Right.
Once I got used to that, now my body's like, okay, it's midnight, time to eat breakfast. You know what I mean? It's almost like your
Oh.
body doesn't know what time it is. It knows what you put it through.
So
It
it's
has no idea of a
programmable.
time clock.
Right. So it's programmable. You
Yes.
can
So
condition
for
it.
you,
Okay.
it's almost like how you should know when and not to eat. When you get up, the first hour you're up, technically you should be eating because you're giving your body a start to move. If you ever really realize that everybody says after coffee, I'm ready. Sometimes it's not so much after coffee, it's what you program to wake you up, right? So it might be after coffee, you might have a little bit more energy if you put something in your system because again, food is fuel. Food is fuel, period. That's what it is. That's what it's for. It's
Ah.
fuel. It's your gas.
So
Good.
it's not just about working out. So this is like
Always 70% of what you eat. 70 to 80 of
really.
what
And
you
the
eat.
working out does so the working out just makes the body have motion, which is kind of like an electric or heating up
Yeah,
of the
so
body,
the
making the
working
blood.
out is going to keep your body moving. It's going to keep your muscles strong. It's going to keep your joints fluid, so you're not cracking and doing all these other things. It's
Why
just
you
keeping
had
you
to
moving.
mention cracking?
Yeah, because
Whatever.
everybody complain to be like, I heard my knee crack. And it's the same thing, like I said, with a new bike. The old bike, the reason why it lasts so long, the reason why you had it for 15 years versus the new bike, I just took it out this year and I only used it once and it broke down, is because you take care of it. We
Mm.
take care of objects more than we take care of ourselves. I know
Oh,
you
say
got
it
jewelry.
again. That
I
is
know you
so
got
true.
shoes. I know you got a
Mm-hmm.
shirt that is
Mm-hmm.
still intact, like if you just
Mm-hmm.
bought it because we take care of it. We put
Mm-hmm.
ourselves secondary. Our body is just like any other object that you would have. If you care about it, take care of it.
Right.
So
So
as
is
long
it
as so the body's never gonna know what time it is. It knows when you're moving. I get up every day roughly around 3:30 in the morning.
see that like you
No,
people with
my
the
lifestyle. I'm
three
gonna be
thirty,
100%
five
honest.
thirty in the morning. You know how many people I know that do that?
3:30.
They
3:30.
get up at 3:30 in the morning.
So, so
They're on I'm getting emails. Uh, you know,
I try to be mindful. I try to hit everybody after 8, but because I realize we're not the same. My
right.
lifestyle right now has to be readjusted, and I'm working on that because of the two jobs. I do start clients like at 5:30 in the morning, then I'll go to my other job. So I will never recommend that. But I have trained my body to where people say I can't get up and eat. It's too early. What time you work? 8 o'clock. I'll work up at 3:30, and my body is like, hurry up and brush your teeth because we got to get this breakfast going.
Really? Okay,
Yeah,
so
like that's what it is.
what do you suggest? And we're kind of gonna jump around, but as you talk, I'm just all these things are popping in my head because this conversation is so necessary. Like we are all under the impression that fasting works. We are all under the
For
impression
some,
that
I'll never knock
starving.
it out of anyone
Mm,
because for some people to work, there'll be 1,000 testimonies. But all I say to ask yourself, is it sustainable for the rest of your life? I don't go with the guarantee to get a client. I don't go out there with just looking, let me get this client, let me get this client. I want to train you to make it a habit in your life. I want you to like fitness. the same way you like to do any hobby in your life. It's not all that everybody's going to be so into exercising. If it's not me, if it's not having a trainer to hold you accountable, find something that you love to do that'll keep you
Right.
active. If you want to dance, then go to a dance class. My goal is to, whatever it is that you're doing right now that has you in this fitness world, to continue it and be able to be sustainable. So it's the same thing with eating. If you say I'm gonna be a vegan for a month, I never agree with that. I never agree with it, because if you want to try it out, try it out. But don't tell me you're gonna do this on and off. Everything has to be sustainable, and make sure that it could be a part of your life, because there's our rebuttals. Our
So that
body
was the
goes into
other
a
thing that we
shock.
tried. I know, or I tried. I tried giving up meat, and I tried giving up carbs, and I tried um give just drinking only water. I gave up wine. Listen, I gave up wine. Here, that was a desperate move. Okay, stop playing. Coffee and wine is a staple in
It's the
my
way you
life.
said you gave up wine. Like I gave up my life.
Listen, some people talk like that about men, but I told them
Listen, you're
about
right.
wine. This is what I'm saying.
All I say when it comes down to it, whatever you're gonna do, make sure you could see yourself doing it for a year, two
And right,
years,
I'm
that you
seeing
can
that.
see yourself doing it on vacation. I don't want to live in, this is what I think this is what made me fall in love with it, is because I never worked out. I cared about when I skipped gym class. You know what I mean? I
Yeah.
was the person that always had an excuse. I failed it. I literally was almost going to fail high school just because I never went to gym class. I hated anything that had to do with activity. Obesity runs on my side of my family. I was very content in my skin, but I was definitely not trying to move. Run me, never. Then
That,
then I was, when I was asthmatic, I was even excited about that. Can't do it because I have asthma. I
that's
was very quick to
that's
very like to throw that card out there. But
right.
even with that, my asthma only truly, I'm not on insulin. I'm not on a butyrol. I'm not
Right.
on any of that. It only acts up when I have a cold, and it's not severe. It's maybe I have a little, tightness of the chest. But
Uh-huh.
other than that, because I've got into my fitness activities.
Right.
So my brother too. My brother was a severe asthmatic in the hospital all the time. He's now active. And he's not passionate like I am about it, but he works out and he moves.
Right.
And now I can't even tell you when's the last time he had to be in the hospital. And this, he used to have to be in the hospital at least 3, 4 times a month.
Wow. So let me ask you. So when you talk about food, when you say breakfast, I mean, because I like breakfast is it whatever you want to eat? Does it have to be a certain portion? Can it just be a piece of fruit? Like, what do you have any suggestions on what
So
breakfast?
when it comes down to portions, exactly. People don't we all pretty much grew up, especially depending on your nationality, your background, or your culture. We all grew up having too much.
Right. We do
Right.
mounds of food,
We
not.
don't, whatever it's like at me, like I'm half black, half Puerto Rican. I go to my great grandmother's house, it's half a plate of rice,
I know that's
half
right.
that beans, a little bit
I
of chicken, and then they give you like a little bit of like maybe some lettuce to call it
right.
texture.
Little
Right?
shredded lettuce on the top.
Throw two tomatoes on two green lettuce leaves, and that was it. That's your
That's it.
salad.
That's it.
Right?
You telling
But
the truth.
we never realized that it's always been there. It's a
Right.
cup, it's a handful, it's always been there. So when it comes down portion, you really should be eating a lot less than what you have, as far as like say oatmeal. People, I used to do 2 and 3 cups, like, yep, this is gonna fill me up, but that's not what it is, right?
Right.
So portion is essential to how you eat, because also then we're overeating. So let's say, for instance, for me, I love oatmeal and I like almond butter, right? But I always got to make something exciting for myself. So I'll put like a tablespoon of almond butter at
And
the bottom of the bowl, and then pour
mhm.
the oatmeal on top. So
Right.
now when I'm digging into my oatmeal, it's like, oh my God, there's a surprise here. You know what I
Oh,
mean? I
right.
do it every time. I don't know why.
That's
It's
so
a
sweet to
secret.
see yourself.
It's a secret, but I get excited for that. But I also have egg whites, and I'll
Mhm.
have like a green shake. So with this, it sounds like a lot, but it's really not, because
So
I'm
that's
having,
all one breakfast meal?
yes.
Wow. How much
Sounds crazy, right?
how
Sounds
much
crazy.
oatmeal? How much oatmeal are you doing? Are you doing
I put either sometimes a quarter of a cup, depending on my mood. If I'm really feeling greedy, half a cup. But it's seems like when you say it that way, it's a little, but it's not. It's actually all the portions that I need for myself. Because remember, I'm having a full long day.
right?
I eat it all, and I'm not full. but I'm not
Right.
hungry. You know
Right.
that I'm good.
Right.
Like it
And
gives me enough to keep
how
going.
big
I'm
is
not stuffed. I don't. You
right?
don't want to eat till you feel like you got to unbutton your pants. You want to eat like this is the fuel that I'm supposed to. It's almost like looking at a certain amount, like have a glass tube, and you got to fill the water up to a certain level. That's what it feels. You filled it up just enough to keep your
Mm-hmm.
body that battery that you needed to keep you going. So
So
as you go
how
throughout the
much of
day,
how
hmm,
much of a green shake is it? A cup, half a cup?
for me, I have. I think my cup. It's mine's is a full cup. At
Okay, so
times, depending on what I got left, sometimes it won't be less than 8 ounces, but it's
mhm.
usually a full cup for me.
Okay, and then as far as the egg white, what do you buy the carton of egg whites or
I
do
do
you?
not like poured egg whites for nothing in this world. I
I've
know people
tried
do
that.
not like to waste eggs and the yolk, but I'll do maybe 4 egg whites, and at times, depending on my mood, I'll throw in one yellow. And
Okay,
it's just what I like. You know what I mean?
okay,
Yellow eggs is not obviously it's a good source of the egg, the yellow portion of the egg, the yolk. The problem is that we tend to overdo it. You see, when you cook two
mm,
eggs, right? You're looking at this is never going to be enough, but it is. It's full base protein. So at
right.
this point, it is. We just our mind is set to having more.
Okay,
If you
okay.
ever
So we
realize if you go to a restaurant, oh, how many eggs would you like? And you're looking like, I make as much eggs as it makes it look like big, it fills the
right,
bowl. Well, in reality, if you ask for an omelet, say, oh, let me get just 2 egg whites or 3 egg whites, it's going to come back like an omelet. We just set
right,
up in a way that
right,
you need to see a lot in order for it to make sense to make you full. You go to a 5-star restaurant, a real restaurant,
right. There's more
all your
portions. That's
proportions are
right,
so tiny.
right.
Guess what?
That's
You
right.
came out satisfied.
Yes, that's true, and it is it is fulfilling, and and you don't walk away feeling like I need more, as opposed to if you go to, like, let's say, a barbecue place where they're giving you pounds and pounds of
And you
food.
walking out like, I think I need to sit. I need to walk. My stomach is too tight.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
the way. So we got to train ourselves into that. When it comes down to recommending what to eat, I always say you got to start out with at least having 3 meals a day. Get your body accustomed to that, and then you could play around with how you mix it up to your liking. You want to enjoy what you're eating, not be so annoyed with it that at some point you stop.
okay,
I don't take,
okay.
I still drink. I still have a good time. I still eat. I'm not really, and this is another thing. When you change how you eat and you start eating more at home and prepping your own stuff, your craving for outside food is a lot less.
Well, you know what I noticed also when I eat at home and then I go out to eat something from outside, boy, does it taste salty.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, my God, I was like, what are they doing? Is the food even food anymore, people? Like,
Right,
it's
because the
food.
whole trick behind things like that is to get you to come back, right? So a burger, essentially like something plain as a burger. You're better off having a burger at home because you know what you're adding to it,
Right,
right? You know exactly how much salt you put in it. You know if you put it a
right.
little bit too much pep, you know it, and you always make it to your liking. They make it so they can have an overall effect of you coming back and savoring for more. Because even if it's salty, guess what you're gonna probably add? More soda or more something else to wash it down. So it's geared towards you coming back.
And
But the more you stay at
more
home,
bloating. Like,
yes, the
literally.
more you stay at home and start creating your own meals with your own twist, because we can still have the same thing and it'll be a lot healthier. The craving for outside food becomes less. My biggest craving when it comes down to outside food is, which is probably the healthiest, maybe the healthiest portion of junk food, is pizza. And it's not even pizza from everywhere and anywhere. Because when I feel like I wasted a bite, I get really upset when it's bad
Right,
pizza.
right.
But also, and maybe French fries, maybe.
Mm.
But other
And
than that, that's not
it has to
something.
be the right French fries because everybody's French fries
Absolutely, it's a
aren't
big
good.
difference. So, but that's because you start doing more things at home. It
Hmm.
starts to change it, which in hindsight will steer you away from snacking outside and make you more concentrated in taking care of yourself at home.
Okay.
So the
Okay. So.
biggest recommendation is start eating at home and
Hmm.
start out with 3 meals. Once you can get used to that pattern, everything starts to work come naturally. When you fit exercise into it, you start being more aware. Like, there's no way I'm gonna eat that after I just did this hard workout.
So what about if you eat the 3 meals, should you be on a schedule, an eating schedule?
I'm gonna say like this: the schedule or the alarm should probably be set if you're not used to it, because when you're not used to it, it takes 21 days, right, to like create a habit. and forever to break one. Right. So if you're not used to it, the same way that you waking up for work and you just started a new shift, you kind of got to get those reminders in. So if you want to, you can put yourself on a schedule just to remember that it's time to do it, and then eventually your body will become a clock and do it on its own.
Okay. All right. So our conversation, when I tell you, you got me so hyped, so ready. I am so ready to get started on this journey because let me tell you, deep down inside of me, there is a really conceited woman.
Ha! Good.
I need to back that up. Like
Good.
I need to make what's on the inside, and everybody. I want all people, everybody, to feel like they are their best person, right? I want them to understand that when you're doing anything, especially when the lifestyle you have is so personal. Creating your own income is so personal. There is so much more stress on a person who, if they don't work, they don't eat. If they don't work, then they don't fulfill their passion. If they don't work, then they feel like they have no reason to exist. And when you're an entrepreneur, that's what it's like. And
Oh,
that's a
for
lot
sure.
of stress. So in order for us to be the best and feel like the best person we could be, one of the main things is we have to be healthy.
Yeah.
We have to be, or as healthy as we can be, or to put preventative things in our lives so that we don't become unhealthy if we
Health
aren't.
is wealth.
And that's it. And then also what it does for the mind. I feel when I work out, I feel smarter, stronger, more resilient, confident. And I think it's because the blood is flowing. I think, literally speaking, when I'm sitting around and the blood isn't flowing, I noticed that when I worked out, my memory wasn't. I didn't have any problems with my memory. I didn't have any problems with thinking of words to say, or being able to respond to things quicker. And I believe it's because my blood was flowing better. I wake up sometimes now at my age and my thigh feels numb, and from laying on, because I'm not moving. And
Right.
like, this is what's happening. So in this journey with you, now that you got me on, because I'm gonna do this. You
Good.
gonna, because you did the last time you helped me. Do you remember it was a jump start, and
For sure.
I was looking back at pictures. I was like, wait a minute. This was just what, last year, maybe a year, no, maybe
Yeah.
2 years ago. I was like, there's no way. Even if I can't get back to that, I can get back to something I want, something I'm happy with,
Always
right?
remember, so the past is a past for a reason, right? And
Mm-hmm.
then the present is a gift. So at
Nice.
the end of the day, for the future, it's unpredictable, but it's also, we're creating a new version of yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to go back to the old one because that's old.
Right.
Every day you take a step forward, you create a new version of yourself.
Right.
That's all we have to worry about. Something that's going to help you internally to make it vibrate externally.
Right.
Sometimes it's not so much about, oh, look at me in these jeans. It's like, damn, I feel good. My chest is, it's feeling clear. I woke up with no pain. And while your mind is probably clear when you're working out, because what we forget is that's the moment we stop and focus on ourselves. So for me,
Mm.
working out is church. For me, it's
Yeah.
where whatever I'm feeling, I'm not going to sit here and lie like I've never cried doing cardio. Not because cardio was hard, but because that allowed me to start thinking for myself. So to
Right.
let me get all the stress that I wanted to get out. So
Right.
sometimes what makes you feel good is that moment you took is for you and only you. So whatever it is you have inside, whether it's stress, whether business is not working the way you need it to, you letting it all out there. You're not holding it in. Everything is being released. When anything happens, they say before you do anything, you put your oxygen mask on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You can't help anybody else if you can't breathe. That works in life, period. You
Right.
want to take care of your family? How? If you're not good?
Right.
How do you cook for them if you're weak because you haven't eaten?
Right.
You know what I mean? You
Right.
can't be good for anyone around you, whether you're doing this for you or anybody. If you don't put yourself first to take care of yourself.
Right.
So think of anything what you do in life. Put your oxygen mask on first because you're no good to anyone else around you if you don't.
Okay. So I got my nope t-shirt on because I'm saying no to the stress, no to the not putting me first. I'm saying no, no more. This is my nope day. Everything's over. I'm starting over from this day forward, making sure that there is a me version in my world
Yes,
of
please and
where
thank you.
where it's just about taking care of me, because at I want to make sure that as I age, that I can still be free to enjoy life. But if my biological number is 70, but my my actual age number is 70 and my biological number is 90, or my body feels like it's 90, I'm not going to be able to enjoy a 70 version of my life.
Nope.
And I want to be able to enjoy it all the way to the very end, if possible. And this is at least giving me a fighting chance to do
That's
that.
all you ask, is to give yourself a fighting chance. That's all you can do. Life is unpredictable. We
Right.
don't know what will happen, but whatever you can do to make sure that you take every step to get there is
Mhm.
all that counts.
We're about to start with me. I hope that, listen, I hope everybody's going to join in. We're not going to do a whole workout session. If you want to, you know, have a personal trainer, you need to call her. But I will share with you. Listen, I must really love all of you a lot, because I'm going to actually share, first of all, me in some spandex, full body on social media is within itself something to watch. So we're going to do full body, workout clothes, and they're going to be times. And every month, my progress, we'll have another conversation and update you on the progress of what I'm doing, how it's feeling, how my body is doing, if I lost any inches, if I lose any weight, if I have to switch something up, what's working for me, what's not working for you. And I want you to kind of join in and do it for yourself, right? Once a month, we're going to do it on Tuesdays, once a month at 2, and I'll put the date up there. In the meantime, Jen, why don't you just tell me, what are we going to be doing for me?
First and foremost, when it comes down to anything that we're going to do, we're going to make this a part of your lifestyle. We're going to be consistent with it. Get you on that journey, so that way it's like waking up and brushing your teeth, that you won't forget that I got to stay active, that I got to keep going. Because essentially, obviously, I would love all my clients to be there for the rest of their lives. But my main goal is that it sticks with you. Whatever I teach you, whatever you train with, whatever I give you a part of me, that it sticks with you. So when maybe one day you too big for me, that you don't have time, I don't fit in your calendar, but what always fits into your calendar is always being active, always staying healthy, and always to keep moving. So as long as I can give that to you, my job is done. So my
And you
goal with
got,
you is to make it consistent, so we don't have a year or two apart. We have a day or two
that
apart,
was it. That was
a
kind of a
week or
jab.
two.
That was kind of like a,
No, it was like a little chin check. Like, I put your chin up. You know what I mean? I hear this story all the time. Oh, 6 months ago when I was in the gym, what happened?
right.
Life. In life, no matter what happens, you still are existing. You still have to put yourself first. So my number one goal is to make it so consistent that, again, even if I don't exist in your life, that portion of you will always exist. So
Right.
first and foremost, we're gonna start on consistency.
Okay. Okay. We're going to start with consistency. So are you saying all I have to do is make sure I show up?
You got to show up. That's the hardest part. People don't realize it. It's
Right.
not the workout. You're gonna do it.
Right.
You're gonna do it no matter what. You're gonna do it. You're here. It's
Mm.
showing up.
I did a virtual measurement thing just because, I'm crazy. Like, so I was like, I wonder what I really did. Well, the only thing about it is, so I plugged in my measurements and it did like a 3D version, like a mannequin of me.
Mhm.
Holy shit. When I was like, what is happening right now? And I was like, well, and it didn't give me no butt. And that kind of takes that buff.
Ah,
That buffers the
it's,
butt buffers the fat a little bit. It makes it look a little bit more curvy, but this thing took that away. So I was just like spinning. It was all in. It's like spinning around, and my back looked so fat because they asked for the measurements equipment,
yeah.
and my back was really fat. Woo! And excuse me, and I just looked like a linebacker with a gut and these big thighs and no butt. It was horrible. And then that's when I made up my mind, because the conceited girl kicked in and was like, what is happening? We're not doing this. It's not a thing of me not feeling good about myself because other people said, it's me not feeling good about myself because I know I can do better.
Okay.
I
That's
know what
different.
it's supposed to look like in my head. I know what my version of looking right is, and that's what I'm trying to get to. And I know for me, that didn't look right. And for me, when I go on the beach, this is what I know people are going to see. And for some, I don't want that. I
You
don't
don't
want
want
them
it.
to see that.
Copy.
Right. It's just like, I don't do anything to get a man's attention. I don't do anything to get a woman's attention. I don't do anything for people to look other than this show. I do this show because I want y'all to
I
be.
heard you.
Let's be honest. I like a little
different.
attention, but I do it for me. I do it because I want to be happy at the end of the day with myself. And it is not easy trying to live that. It's easy to talk about it. You know, people talk about, oh yeah, you know, I look out after myself. I do this after myself. I do me. I'm gonna put me first, and they don't.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We don't, and that's what I'm
sure.
going to do. I'm really trying to talk that talk and walk that walk with you. So let's get it done. Let's do
We're gonna
it.
do it.
All right, then. All right, this was a good show, right? Don't you feel like this? Like this is gonna be fun.
Let's get it. This that go and get it with no hesitation. This that never quit. Start that elevation. This that process. This that in the making. This that started from the bottom. This that motivation.